Welcome to Wake Up, Shift is Happening TV. It's an amazing time to be alive and aware on the planet right now. There are all sorts of changes and transformations and shifts occurring. And we may want to engage in new ways of being, technologies, tools, and other things that can assist us to create more grace and ease as we take the adventure and the journey from the mind to our hearts and everything in between. I'm Deborah Peach, creator and host of this show, and it is my intention to be in partnership with you as we take this adventure and engage in ways of being that can include becoming conscious observers of our experience, loving ourselves from the inside out and expressing that outward to everything and everyone, connecting the dots and making sense of things that may not necessarily make sense. Please join me as we ignite and activate into the butterflies that we came here to be. Are you ready?
In the deep recesses of the mind lies belief. And basically, we see what we believe. And so do other people.
Absolutely.
So that's when I kind of launched into the battle of the sexes and started to find relief myself.
Right.
And then took note. Like, wow, this really works.
Let's talk about that for a second, the beliefs.
Yeah.
So just to give people some assistance in how powerful this is, because it's incredibly powerful. In regards to beliefs, an example would be if you have an unconscious or subconscious belief that you are unworthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't know it.
Yeah.
You don't know it because you've grown up.
Hence, unconscious, right?
Right, exactly. So great. So just to really bring into to presence, like how significant these beliefs are and how they play out in our daily lives.
Oh yeah, I can give you a real quick example of what that looks like. There's the kind of the climate about how you feel about who you are, right? Inside, your dreams, your hopes, your desires. And then there's this experience that you have outside of yourself.
The persona.
Right, but also how you experience your relation. We're relational creatures. So a lot of us learn, most of us, almost all of us learn as little children to become externally referenced. So how we experience life is largely the mirror that we see reflected back to us.
Right.
So we think that the power, love, who I am exists outside of us. And then when you show up and tell me who I am or how I'm upset. Oh, you're upset. I'm upset. Oh, yeah. Particularly women.
Yes.
By the way.
We're a little bit more emotional beings than the males.
So for example, if you show up in my life and you're mirroring some unconscious belief I have about that my greatest value is how I look. There's one that many people relate to. Or that my greatest value is how I can be of service to you, right? And I've drawn you into my life, but I don't realize that, and you're displaying behavior that causes me pain, I'm automatically going to think you did something, and I ultimately need to get away from you. The rub is that because I'm externally referenced, I need you. I've learned I need your validation. So there's this jail time. Right? We feel imprisoned with other. So we have this dance, this unconscious dance. So the most important thing we can do is...
So we actually literally become slaves.
Absolutely.
To our beliefs.
Absolutely.
So I really want people to get this.
That's right.
We become slaves to our beliefs.
How do we release the divinity within us?
Right.
How do we achieve immortality? And I started to develop this view that Mary Magdalene was kind of running the show, and Jesus was kind of her daredevil test pilot. Here, honey, I've developed this oil. Sniff this, and what if we did this? And
the
what
alchemist, right?
And
divine feminine in her power.
Exactly, and so
they had to put her down and call her a prostitute.
Totally. That's exactly what happened.
You can't have a woman running the show.
Right. So I made numerous trips to France and numerous trips to Egypt, kind of following that trail. And that's what ultimately led me into what I think of as where they were going with it. They viewed this body they view us as sort of like in a pupal form. If you think of the cocoon, we're in a pupal form, and what they were looking at is, what's the butterfly? How do we release the inner butterfly?
Do you know what the branding of this show is?
No.
It is man to butterfly.
But there you go.
It's the being, the man, and human going into the cocoon, transforming.
There you go.
We are into flying as butterflies.
That's what it is. And what I found is, the analogy I like to make to where most people are at, including where I'm at, in a sense, is I saw a cartoon once of a cocoon looking up at a butterfly saying, "You'll never get me up in one of those things." and that's the problem. And so what I try to provide people is here's the vision. This is why the guy can't visualize it, because he's never seen that. He's the cocoon thinking, "You're never going to get me up in one of those things. I don't have a concept of that."
It's the vehicle. We are the vehicle.
Exactly. And so that's what these guys were into, Jesus and Mary Magdalene,
Right.
as well as a lot of other of these holy teachers. That's what they wanted to know. And that's what they least want you to know.
Right.
You know, they want you thinking this is all there is. This is hard. It's material.
Right.
And
follow our rules and regulations.
Exactly.
Go to heaven with that. Otherwise, you're a sinner, etc.
Yeah.
And not to get,
churchy.
Yeah, churchy. The distinction here is that there's the old paradigm that is crumbling.
Right.
It's based in fear, greed, control, etc.
Right.
And it's not just church, but there's all sorts of other institutions.
Oh, totally. It's corporate.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Corporate. Stay in the 9 to 5. We'll give you the insurance and
we'll provide
secure.
stability for you.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Whereas to the ancients, when they're thinking stability, to them, stability was equated with righteousness, and that's another church word that's been totally misused. But righteous to them just meant right use of your words. It's like the Buddha's Eightfold Path. It's all about right action, right words. Watch what you're saying. Watch what you're thinking. Watch what you're doing. Make sure it's in your highest integrity. Because if you do that, then now here comes those 8 Beatitudes. You're going to be blessed. You're going to have the pure heart. You're going to be able to see with that expanded vision. So there's lots of benefits to this, and this isn't what's really communicated a lot of times when people are brought up in various religious traditions. They're thinking this is boring, and doesn't have any relevance to me.
No wonder it's boring, because it's not the truth in their heart.
Exactly.
So let's start with past life regression and first of all, what does it look like for those of people that don't really even know what past life regression is?
Sometimes the client is literally experiencing being that other person.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, in the past 2 weeks, I've had 2 people who died on the Titanic.
Oh, interesting.
And I totally believe it's true, because the detail is far too detailed. But so they're actually in that body, so to speak, of the woman on the Titanic that was trying to save the children. She holds the child up to sort of like her head level to keep the child out of the water, and ultimately they all perish. One key aspect of her learning is that she knows the soul of this child in current life.
In this lifetime.
In her current lifetime. And she needed to know what her pull was and what her pain was to this person who's the same soul. She carries a fear of drowning, which she didn't understand.
And the being who she tried to save is now an adult in this lifetime. Right. Soul connection.
Right.
What do we know about that?
We belong from the beginning of our soul's progression, lifetime to lifetime, to a group of 8 to 15 souls approximately.
Okay.
Those are the souls we reincarnate with most often.
Our soul group.
That's our soul group.
Right.
For lack of another word. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Inside of me.